Hi, this is Tamara, and I'm coming to you from sunny San Diego. I'm so happy that today is the first day where we actually get to go maskless if we've been vaccinated in San Diego and in California. So it's starting to actually feel like a real summer again, and that's so exciting. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about a strategy that I use to create all of my social media posts, my portfolio features on my websites and other posting sites, all my conversations that I have when I'm talking to prospects, and even clients when even conversations when I'm talking to clients. It's an easy thing to remember in your mind if you remember the acronym SALE. SALE. Now I want to share with you, this is not a sales tactic. It's really all about sharing and storytelling. And the reason why this is important is because some of the most famous and prolific people that are trainers and coaches and authors use this style of sharing and storytelling instead of selling when they're talking to their clients, and they have amazing results. A really good example of this is Donald Miller. He has a book called Story Brand, and if you haven't read it, I suggest you pick it up. It's really amazing. It helped me to reimagine my entire website. I've been in business now 11 years, and I've redone my site 3 times in the 11 years. It's a lot of work. If you've ever done a website, you know exactly what I mean. It's like writing a book. And one of the things that really helped me when I started thinking about sharing and storytelling instead of selling is I really considered what I was telling my audience from their perspective, and how the use of stories could help to engage them so that they could start relating with what I was sharing instead of feeling like I was selling to them. So it really takes the pressure away from the conversation to turn it away from sales and turn it into something that feels a lot more like relationship building. And truly, that's where the gold is. Instead of thinking about where your next dollars are going to come from, I really would love it if you would start thinking about how to build and develop your relationships with your vendors, your clients, and anybody that's supporting you in your business, because truly this is going to be your secret sauce to success. So let's get started and talk about the 4-step process that really, the acronym again is SALE. So let's talk about what that means. If you've got the free cheat sheet, I want to make sure that you have it printed out, because this will help you remember what we talk about today. And if you don't see it in the write-up for this post, we'll definitely put a link to the free worksheet in the comments so that you can find it, okay? So do print it out and use it. It'll be helpful for you. So the acronym SALE, the first word starts with S, and it really stands for story. I want you to remember that when you're talking with someone and you want to get to a point, that you're always going to start with a story. Even if you're a new designer, you can use a story that brings in examples of things that you've seen other designers do, that you've seen when you've gone to trade shows, that you've read in books, that you witnessed on YouTube, that you're seeing as a trend. All of those things are stories, and they can truly help to raise your level of expertise and knowledge, when it's not just you telling your client or your friend or your prospect something. It's actually you telling the client a story that supports your idea. So because instead of you being the front person, it's almost like you're using a scenario from another event or another time or another expert in order to help support your idea. So again, the first word starts with an S, and it stands for story. I'll give you an example of this in just a moment. The second word starts with A, and it stands for application. So truly, what you're going to do is you're going to use the story to share with your prospect how to apply the story or how it was applied in real life. So you may say something like, oh, I just read some research on the latest Forbes magazine about how trends in home building are really taking hold in the marketplace, and they're seeing a need for 30% more housing in our market here in California. So it really shows that there's going to be a huge trend in home building over the next 5 to 10 years. It's not going anywhere. And so what that means for you is that there's going to be more homes coming on the market, but it's going to take some time. So the values are going to continue to elevate in the market. So you can see what I did was I used an example from a magazine, Forbes, and then I applied it by saying, oh, and this means, right? The next letter in our process is L, and L stands for lesson. So you might say something like, going back to our example, Forbes magazine just had an article in its recent issue about the need for housing and how there's going to be a 300% growth in the marketplace over the next 5 to 10 years. That's our S. And they are going to be continuing to build and grow in the marketplace, but it's going to take some time. So prices are going to continue to escalate in our market, and there's still going to be a buying frenzy. Okay, that's the application. The lesson is coming up. This is your L. So this is what I would say if I was using lesson in this conversation. What I saw back in 2008, when we had a similar kind of shift in the market, was people that stood on the sidelines while they waited for the market to correct. They actually missed out on the opportunity to buy. And so people that jumped in, even at a higher market price than they were comfortable with, their home values continued to go up, while people on the sidelines started to panic because they were wondering when their opportunity to jump in was actually going to happen. Okay, so now I've done 3 steps. I've done the S, the A, and the L, and we're at E, which is epiphany. Epiphany is that aha moment that you're really trying to use the story, the application, and the lesson to get to the epiphany. So you really need to know where you're trying to go with this conversation from the very beginning, so that all of your story, your application, and your lesson support your epiphany, right? So epiphany would be something like, okay, we've already talked about the 30% increase, and we've talked about how your client really needed it, the market's going to continue to go up, and the lesson was that, oh my God, they stood on the sideline and they missed out. So the epiphany is, what I've read recently is that many home buyers, especially the ones I've been working with recently, are opting out of buying new homes and deciding to really invest in the homes they have now, because they're seeing that for what it would cost to upmarket to a new home, they could make their homes that they have now their perfect, their perfect environment. And so instead of trying to upmarket with 150, 250, or even now it's getting up to the $500,000 mark in San Diego, they're taking that money and they're putting in the pool, they're doing their outside beautiful environments, they're building they're building new kitchens for themselves and master baths. They're expanding up to a second story. I mean, it's just going like wildfire in San Diego. So I know, like my client, the Roses, who live in your neighborhood actually, they just took the money that they were thinking about spending on a new home in Del Mar, and they invested that in their home in the Claremont area and turned it into a beautiful oasis. Do you see how I tied that whole process together? If I had just left the story without the application and the lesson and the epiphany, I would never have been able to bring it all the way around full circle to the point I was trying to make. And if I just jumped into the point I was going to try to make, which is the epiphany, I would lose out on all of the support for why it's important to consider upgrading your home instead of going out and buying a new one. So if that was my point, I would really want to think about, okay, how am I going to stitch this story together to make this point, and make sure that I include these 4 points in not only my conversations at the cocktail party this weekend, but my post on Facebook about my recent job, or my bio on my website about the Smith residence that I just finished. So if you use this 4-step process, what you're actually going to start doing is you're going to draw people into an entertaining moment. You're going to demonstrate how something was resolved. You're going to pinpoint a specific result that you'd love for them to consider. And you're going to create an aha moment for them to get them to consider maybe something that would benefit you and your business, a solution that you could offer. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you some examples of 2 recent posts that I did when I was posting on LinkedIn. In my company, Danica and I work together when we do our advertising. It's not even really advertising, it's all social posting and generating these connections via relationship building. So I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Personally, I probably post on LinkedIn at least 4 times a week, and I engage in other people's posts every day. So I spend at least an hour a day on LinkedIn commenting, not just liking, not just thumbs upping, not just doing the easy stuff. I actually engage with the people on LinkedIn who are in my network because I'm supporting them. And the more I support them, the more they come around and support me as well. It's a give and take, and it's certainly all about reciprocity in social media. So I will tell you an example of the success that I've had in LinkedIn is in the last 18 months, I made that commitment to be there daily and to spend the time connecting. And I have increased my social network from 3,000 to now I have almost 7,000 followers, which isn't huge in that network, but it's much bigger than the average. And I will say that I use this 4-step process almost every single time I post. My posts are a little bit longer than other people's posts. I always tell a story, and I always make sure I have an aha moment, whether it's my aha moment from something I experienced, or a client's aha moment, or even something that I read that created an aha moment for someone else. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to share 2 of my recent posts, and these will really show you how we went through the process to create the 4 steps so that our people that follow us in social media were taken on a journey of understanding what we started with, what we were trying to solve, whatever problem was in front of us, what we did to solve the problem, and then what kind of result we created. So I'm going to share that with you now. watching those, and I want to point out that on your worksheet, you'll see at the very bottom of the worksheet, I've given you some steps that you can use to try to go through this process yourself. I shared the dilemma, a problem that needed to be solved, an interesting solution, the opportunity, and the great outcome. So, what I'd really like you to do is, as you're thinking about your next opportunity to engage with your clients or your audience or anybody that's looking at your website or your listing on Houzz, think about how to draw them into this storytelling so that you can start creating relationships with people where, after they see stories of you creating wonderful solutions for other people, they begin to build this immense amount of trust in you and your business, and you become the easy solution for their next opportunity to remodel or refresh their home or even refer you to someone in their network. I truly hope that this process was helpful for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in comments below the post, and we'll do our best to follow up today. This video goes live at 2 p.m. and by about 2:20 we'll be on the site answering questions. Danica and I will be live. So if you sent any questions in to hi@Design Boss Online, we'll try and answer those, as well as any questions you have about this training. Again, I thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you guys are here in this group and that we're able to support you, and we're growing fast. It's so exciting. So for today, I'll wish you much success, and I'll see you soon. Bye.